supposed to give an intro.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, like, hi, everybody. You know, something like that.
Okay, hello.
That is just hi. We're here.
So if Darren had started this before, we were literally just talking about the fact of how to do intros or what to do, what not to do. He hurt himself sitting up straight. Apparently he has been slouching for so many years that
no,
his back just doesn't go straight anymore. Or is it because you've been like hunched over a guitar for so long?
Guitar, I'm like a stickler for form. It's same way with computing. You know, I'm a stickler for form, and the reason why is a lot of things over a long period of time can go wrong, and the number one thing for musicians is carpal tunnel.
Oh, okay.
Long story short, in the military, I had several injuries, and I was kind of forced to do an actual PT test that triggered psoriasis, which in turn created a triggered psoriatic arthritis. And in the last like 3-4 weeks, it's just been super aggressive. My back is one of them. So yes, even trying to adjust myself to proper posture is a pain in the ass.
Or back.
Pain in the back.
My mom loves to say that even, before I was born, I was a pain in the ass because she had a bunch of lower back pain when she was pregnant. Apparently have been a pain in the ass longer than I've been alive.
That's fair. That's like parents' vengeance.
What, having these types of stories? No. I'm not going to put her on blast on this, but no. My mom did some real screwed up things. I'm pretty sure I've said them to you while you're streaming. So if you guys go and check out his stream, you might be able to find it in some old VOD. Speaking of giving birth and people, Fandy, what? That was a
why?
Perfect.
Why?
What do you mean why? How often?
Not the segue. Why would you?
Darren, if you had the ability to give birth, just hear me out before you say anything. If you had the ability to give birth to ensure that 29,000 people watched you and you gained 5,000 additional followers on Twitch in that 8.5-hour stream, Fandy gave birth on Twitch. She basically said, oh, water broke, time to go live type thing. Baby's first stream. They set up like one of the kiddie pools. They had their wet nurse. They had all of these things there. And her labor was 7-ish hours. But yeah, she actually gave birth live on Twitch.
I really just don't know what to make of it. On one hand, why?
People have streamed themselves stealing motorcycles.
Yeah.
They've streamed themselves offing people. They have streamed themselves sleeping.
I guess I wouldn't slight one more so than the other. I think it's all kind of ridiculous. On the other hand, it's, I guess, from an educational perspective, maybe?
That is why people are saying what she did was not against terms of service for Twitch. Twitch allows educational type things to be on there. It is also showing bodily fluids, which there was a streamer, and I was trying to look him up, and I don't even know what I should start looking up for it, because if I just look up streamer that gets banned for having bodily fluids, that's going to be everything.
Yep.
I'm going to end up on the hub. I'm going to end up on the fans. I'm going to end up everywhere. But he was doing this stream where anytime that someone donated, they could tell him what to add to the kiddie pool that he was doing the stream from. Ketchup, pickle juice, laundry detergent, whatever.
Okay.
Making sure that it wasn't... Twitch banned him for bodily fluids on stream. And it was like, I think it was like a 7-day ban. And he's like, there was never any bodily fluids of any kind on there. It was, you can watch the whole thing, and that's what it was. I'm thinking maybe it's because there was requests for it, and he was denying those requests, of course. A lot of people are wondering if there is some type of a TOS breach. The educational portion of it says no. The fact that Twitch's CEO, Dan Clancy, came into the stream and wished her good luck and congratulations is another thing that says probably not getting in trouble, but it's also a nice payday for him.
It turns into a philosophical conversation very quickly. Again, from the educational perspective, we're all animals, watching animals give birth on something, say,
you and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals.
No different than like something like National Geographic is not a violation of TOS on any platform for that matter. Just keeping all things equal. It's National Geographic, animals giving birth. That's a usual thing to see. And for humans to give birth, it's a very natural thing to witness or experience, blah, blah, blah.
But a horse can walk around its stall with its 9-foot dong hanging out. You can't do that as a person.
What if you have a 9-foot dong? It's like, how are you going to hide it?
But that still goes to my whole thing. You can see whole videos of cows being milked. I'm pretty sure that you're going to get some kind of a strike if you start, milking a female on stream.
Okay. I would probably put this argument in the similar issue of I got a strike from YouTube for something very similar. 3 of my friends went to a hockey game, and one of our friends worked production. They put the camera on them as soon as King scored or whatever. It started with Will Ferrell, and then the shot transitioned to them. They timed it perfectly where one of my friends knew the other was going to be like, yeah, whatever, and decides to just like sack tap him so hard. You see like his eyes go cross-eyed. You see him go down. And this was on like the Titantron, the whole stadium lit up. It was hilarious. They got the video. I took it and I uploaded it because I'm like, we have to share this with the rest of the world. I got the strike for sexual content. There was no sexual content whatsoever. Now you have Jackass doing their bits and they're all over YouTube. Then you have D-Generation X videos all over YouTube, literally pointing at their crotch, even today.
Yep.
You have Britney Spears' 1, 2, 3 music video, which is a song about menage a trois, threesomes. It's not flagged for mature.
Okay, there's a lot of songs that aren't flagged for mature. They're making them money. You're not.
Right. I don't care who monetizes or not. If you are going to have some form of censorship, you need to be fair across the board. And here's the thing.
Whoa. Hold on. You're expecting social medias to actually have fair and equal treatment across the board? How dare you, Dan Leon?
Standards? How dare I? The audacity. I even appealed it. And this appeal was just like, click, like no statement from me whatsoever. They denied it naturally. And so I went to the support board, typed in my issue. I provided the link. I even posted the video on X on my account. YouTube and Google and all of its sorcery deleted my post. I don't know where you draw the line in terms of a TOS infraction when it comes to something like that, because you can only hide under the excuse of, say, education for so long before somebody abuses it.
I actually thought that the big abuse was going to come in the form of a female identifying as a male and then going topless on a beach and being if guys can do it, they've actually said that you can no longer do that, and they'll flag videos for it now, even if you're a male without a shirt on. There is no actual level of consistency at all across the board.
Now, I don't know if there ever will be. I understand why you have the bots and why you have the algorithms trying to catch what it can. My issue is if you're going to have that, I would say that the one thing that would make it fair and equal across the board is to have your appeal to go to a human and be able to state your case. So,
YouTube pissed me off.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Is it like
you
Nintendo?
Cannot talk
is it like Nintendo piss you off?
Oh no. This is personal. They pissed me off.
This is gonna be good.
So I have an old YouTube account. I'm talking from 2001 type thing, before the Google YouTube merger, right?
Right.
And a lot of people have that. Well, since the Google YouTube merger, that account became what's known as a legacy.
Yeah.
If for some reason you did not log in during a certain time period, I cannot have my password sent to me through email because they will not do it with a legacy account. So there are a bunch, and I mean thousands of YouTube accounts. I wouldn't even stretch to even say close, upwards of 1 million that no one can access anymore because you cannot have password check or anything like that ever since this merger happened. When you go to ask anything about it, they're just like, there is no phone number to call. There is no support thing. It is just an FAQ and did you try these 4 things? You're SOL. So there is a way around it, though. There is a way around it. Yes. If you have a YouTube rep because you are a partnered person with a contract with YouTube, then you can get your account back.
Interesting.
So as long as you're making them enough money, you can get your account back.
Okay. If I'm running a business that is a free service, such as the case is YouTube, Facebook, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. I'll send them $20 to get my email address back, my password.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Provide a charge. Yes, there's something to be said about, focus on the people that draw you money. I get that. I guess I'm a little bit torn. On one end, you want to provide a service that's fair to everyone. At the same time, you want to focus on the people that actually keeps you in business.
So here's the other horrible thing about it is that there is also no way to delete that YouTube channel. There's no way to delete content on that YouTube channel. The only way to do it is go to the YouTube channel and flag it for all of the chomos. That is the only way to get those things removed. It has a little description of why you want it removed. In that description, just type out, I'm doing this because I have no access to this account anymore and I do not want this on the internet.
I'm going to tee you up for a segue, but maybe you should start a union for legacy accounts.
That was horrible. Oh my God. No. Go ahead.
Does that qualify for like dad joke version of a segue?
No, that qualifies as an edit that I'll be doing later on.
Fuck off.
But yes, Darren, tell us about this unionization that has been happening in the workplaces.
Yeah, I guess 300 or so employees from Activision Blizzard decided to unionize, and Microsoft recognized it. Hooray. I'm for it. The only person that can probably speak to it better than us is Andrew, I guess, adjacent with that industry, given his line of work. From last I heard, no differently than a lot of gigs in entertainment or even the programming industry now, it can be so very cutthroat in the gaming world, as far as an employee is concerned, because unless you're like in even, I would say, the silver circle of things, you're not likely to keep your job once a game's released.
I wouldn't say that, because Blizzard has a long-standing thing of keeping their IPs going.
I need a bib.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
hide it with your microphone.
I'm gonna hide it with my microphone because I'm so clever.
But no, Blizzard has a long-standing, I don't want to call it a tradition. Well, I guess they do have a tradition of hiring sons of major developers. They do keep people around for a lot of these games. Like Diablo is now in its, fifth iteration, sixth if you want to include the other stuff.
Maybe it's different now. Because I do remember a period of time, and this was circa mid-2000s, when the gaming industry really, I don't know when you would call like the biggest boom in the gaming industry, because you have so many different generations in which it popped. You had the arcade industry of like the 70s and 80s, and then you had, the lulls, and I guess, what was it, Black Monday or Black Tuesday from the video game market. You had that crash, and then Nintendo basically brought it back to life.
Talking about with the NES, right?
The arcades, because Mario on itself was an arcade and it became widely popular, but then they brought the home console and that changed the game.
If you're looking at those like big points, you would have, again, like you said, the arcade.
Yeah.
What would be the creation of then the arcade, NES, PlayStation, PC.
Well, the only one I would give credit to specifically to is Nintendo, because they were kind of the only ones around. Sega came into the picture not too long after, but they were frenemies at that point. And then you enter Sony PlayStation, then you enter the Xbox. That I would consider that more so the jump from the 16-bit to the 64-bit era. But that was all, late 90s and bridging into the early 2000s. When you go to the early 2000s, there was a lot of like RPG expansions. There was the FPS expansions. It's kind of hard to pinpoint where video games really took a boom in a significant increase in the industry. It's taken this long for something to unionize. And
well, the unionization of it, I guarantee you, came from the buyout of Microsoft.
Oh, 100%.
Because they never would have had it before. And a little bit of extra things. It was actually 2 unions that were created with 400 people, give or take. 300 of them were from like the tech department, like developers, like 300-ish, and then 80-ish of them were from like the quality assurance and support.
Yeah.
So
in any given buyout, if you're not part of executive level or even management level, there is the overbearing chance you might lose your job. And that's understandable. For them to unionize, hey, I'm all for it. In an industry where very few are protected in that manner, I'm for it. As long as it's not something that gets abused.
What? Corporate America abusing things?
Say it ain't so.
Fine. I don't know how I feel about it, because I feel that if you weren't doing your job before, you got let go. Although the only people that were getting let go were people that were being accused of SA and being accused of frat-like culture throughout the business. As far as people keeping their jobs, losing their jobs, or whatever, I guess Chris Metzen, which is one of the original people for World of Warcraft, is back, and he'll be doing more stuff for World of Warcraft going forward. So that's actually forward to. I'm for unions because of what they originally stood for. But the way that unions have been horribly abused by politics and by everything else, at this point, I just don't care anymore.
That's another way of putting it, because unions did used to stand for something, and it used to stand for protecting employees and in an honest light. What it eventually grew into is a manner in which to hide from losing employment and allowing people to just take advantage of the system. And it goes back to the old adage of you cannot blame an entire group of people for the actions of one or a few.
Except that that's exactly what we do as society.
I know, right? That's what sort of creates and cultivates rules that sort of curb our ability to manage things freely. The greatest example I can give of that is just driving, because there was a point in time where we had no lanes on the road. Everyone would crash into each other. Okay, now we need lanes. Oh, we should probably have stop signs because people just roll through intersections. Oh, by the way, we've been able to prove that you can't drive drunk. So while some laws make sense, others are just kind of like, all right, this sucks. So.
I just have a really funny thing that I want to add to the whole not having lanes thing. 1895, there's a story of two cars. There were only two cars in Ohio, and they managed to crash into one, failing to yield way. Yep.
Wow.
Speaking of cars.
Yeah.
Lego Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight, is going to have 4 new car sets. Well, I guess 3 of them are vehicles, and then one of them is like bat symbol. Yeah, 3 of them are going to be $30. One of them is going to be $80 US. Cool thing is that with them, when you buy them, you'll get a code. And whatever vehicle or thing that you purchase, the tangible Lego thing that you purchase, you'll get a code to have a gold variant of it in the Lego Batman game.
Oh, that's cool. Little gimmicks like that. And I know Warzone did it for a little while. Nintendo kind of did it within their own wheelhouse with the Amiibo system. And they're good marketing ploys because it gets you to buy something, incentivizing you to be a little bit more unique.
Well, honestly, people should be buying a bunch of Legos anyway. They've outdone the stock market by like 200%.
I had Legos, but I just never got into it.
Darren, if it involves actually being a child of any kind, any sense, you're just like, I'm just not into it. That's what I'm getting.
I'm sorry. I was still into Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, Heathcliff, hell yeah, Lincoln Logs.
Oh, okay. Hold. Lincoln Logs.
Lincoln Logs are great. That was fun.
Okay, so you like Lincoln Logs, but not the updated version that is Legos.
You could call it a mild form of ADD when I was a younger kid, but the way I saw it is I'm like, this is taking too long. I want to go do something else.
That worked.
Yeah.
You also actually get a little Batman figure. It's a gold figure. I don't know if you knew this or not, but people actually collect just, not the Lego builds themselves, because a lot of people do that, but some people collect just the little Lego guys.
Don't get me wrong. I know it's a booming industry and there's a huge market for it. Didn't they come out with a functioning Game Boy?
No. So they came out with a Game Boy and then someone made it functioning.
Ah, that's what it was. Because that would have actually been pretty cool.
There was a really cool thing about that Game Boy, and that was that if you took the cartridge and opened it up, there was actually a small Lego battery that was inside the game cartridges that would go inside the Game Boy. I thought that was like a nice little attention to detail.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Batman sets are up for pre-order. They will release on March 1st, 2026. Other things that are set to release fairly soon. Tarkov is set to release on November 15th on Steam. It's also set to release its 1.0. So it's been in beta for like 9 years. Been what's called, considered closed beta because you do have to buy it in order to play the game. 500,000 people have already wishlisted it on Steam.
I would say that's good. It was disappointing that I wasn't able to run it on my PC. I watch it from time to time between you, and it just looks like a lot. Probably isn't once I actually try it.
The funniest thing was I was watching you stream either last night, you were playing Battlefield, you're like, oh my God, I love the realism to this. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, really? You want realism?
No, I didn't say that.
Tarkov.
That was Joe. It was 100% Joe. He literally said, I love the realism of this game.
I'm going back and watching your VOD.
All right, go ahead.
Speaking of Battlefield 6, I bought it.
I saw that.
I did buy it. I already completed the campaign.
I haven't even started it.
And I am going to agree with IGN.
Okay.
It is mid at best.
The campaign, though.
The campaign, I've not played any other version, any other things on it yet. I've only played the campaign. They gave it a 5 out of 10. I agree with that. I might even go 4 out of 10. The writing, the writing sucks as far as the characters go. The whole campaign is only like 4 to 5 hours long. Yeah, I don't know. It's also, for Battlefield being this incredibly large and expansive game, the campaign is so incredibly linear. You just have these paths that you just straight up walk down.
I'm either on your side or I'm not necessarily against you for, anything that you describe as far as the campaign goes. I mean, number one, I haven't tried it myself yet, and two, I don't discredit your judgment on that, except for the linear portion. Not all games can be an open world mechanic, so you're almost going to deal with a linear storyline.
And I understand that, It's just that because Battlefield has always prided itself on these gigantic combats and these gigantic maps. And I understand that that's all for their PvP portion of it, for their multiplayer and for whatever. Just the fact that they have that ability to do that, and the actual campaign itself, it's actually a really small download. It's only like 15 gig.
That beats COD's like taking up half my PS5.
I will give them one thing about it. So after you finish the campaign, it says, you have your little options for the campaign. You scroll down one window and it says uninstall. It gives you the ability to uninstall the campaign after you've completed it. I'm going to go through and I am going to 100% the campaign. I was actually working on the third mission as we were, about to start this whole thing, and I didn't quite get through it. I'm like, do I make him wait the 15 minutes, or do I just, I'll just do this? But no one buys Battlefield for the campaign. Let's be honest.
No. So this is my first Battlefield purchase. Okay. I had a slight argument with Ray on the similarities between, and I may take some heat for this. I don't care. Battlefield 6 so far on the multiplayer perspective, we have to give the BR a chance 100% because at least then it's a different BR that's in the same wheelhouse as something like Warzone. But with the multiplayer, it feels exactly like COD. Modern Warfare 2019, Modern Warfare, and then Modern Warfare 2 and 3, I think had a game mode called Ground War. That's exactly what All Out War is. The difference is you have helicopters, tanks, and fighter jets that you can pilot.
That was COD's answer to Battlefield.
Right. The Ground War, it feels, the All Out War feels exactly the same as Ground War with those exceptions. The other exception is the breakaway walls.
Destructible. Yeah.
That's awesome. Man, it even happened, I think, to Joe last night where he was like on top of a roof and the structure fell beneath him, so he went with it. It's great. And the multiplayer portion bores me, and I blame Warzone for that. Because ever since Warzone came out, the whole 2 life thing, I loved. It increased the challenge factor. It made multiplayer feel just a bedtime story to me. Playing the multiplayer on Battlefield 6 makes me super excited for Battlefield's Battle Royale.
Ground War, I guess is what it was called. I played it a couple of times. Well, again, it was also very linear. Like if you took a part of Verdansk that a ground war was on, it was literally just one side of the train station, and that was it, straight down in a line with 5 capture points.
Yeah, but that's literally the
from
same.
Hill.
That's the same as All Out War.
But it's not, because it is so much larger. Like you can actually get, 500, 700 meters away when you're doing something. Ground War, you were lucky to get 50 meters away from something.
The map is still a big oval, and it's still a section of the main Battle Royale map, which we don't even know if the maps that we're playing in Battlefield 6 right now are part of the Battle Royale. A giant oval, it's just Battlefield's is a lot bigger. It's all.
Have you ever tried Hell Let Loose?
Never even heard of it.
So it is a World War II massive battlefield.
Okay.
One-shot kill type things. It is tank. You're taking positions, but it is large. And there aren't really boundaries. Like there are, but it's just like impassable type thing. But you can wade through water, you can swim, you can go over bridges. Warzone only allowed you to swim over the past of 3 years. Before that, you couldn't even get into water.
With Modern Warfare 2 came Warzone 2, and that's where you were able to swim.
Everything else before that, you just kind of died, right?
Yeah.
You could not go in water. You couldn't do anything like that.
Which I would say Verdansk, that's the only letdown, is they didn't have, I know in the OG Verdansk, they didn't have, other than the beaches in the south, they didn't have that many, water areas. It's not like they couldn't have built them or facilitated them in the new iteration of Warzone or the new iteration of Verdansk, because that would have been cool to, have, more of the swim dynamic that Al Mazrah had. So
I don't know, man. Like, Verdansk is a weird thing to me, and I've always felt it's kind of weird, because if you drop on one side of the map, it feels like you're hanging out at the beach during, spring break or summer vacation. But you go over to the dam, it's a freaking frozen lake.
That's kind of how it was in the first Verdansk.
No, I understand that. But just that difference of things, that you go from frozen lake to what I'm guessing is warm-ish water.
Yeah.
In the span of, 1 kilometer. Like I said, I agreed with IGN. They said that the campaign was safe, dull reimagining of what Battlefield once was, rather than a bold reinvention of what it could have been.
The way they said it was pretty harsh. I think it's like you said, it's not like people played Battlefield for the campaign and the story.
You're right, they don't, but people do play FPS in general. for the story, like the Black Ops story, or well, except for Cold War. No one cared about the Cold War.
Nobody
story.
cares. Or Vanguard.
Here's the thing. We already know how Vanguard's going to end. The Germans lose. Like,
yeah. Wait, as soon as
those historical type things, I can't get behind. I'm going to get back to historical in a second.
All right.
But I wanted to give Battlefield one more kudos. As of the time of writing the article, which was on the 15th, they had sold 7 million units in just 5 days, $350 million in revenue. 55% of all players were actually on Steam, and they had the second highest ever concurrent players at 747,440.
I believe it. I think at the day of the launch, the queue peaked at like 700,000 for such a high number. Like when I jumped in, and I jumped in for a little bit just to make sure like everything was good and like all my keybinds were good. I think when I jumped in, it was like 400,000. It really only took like 10 minutes to get through that queue, which that too was pretty impressive. These are all things that make me super excited about the Battle Royale and Warzone. I'm sorry, Verdansk was fun. And you know what? I will give credit where credit's due. Everyone thought Verdansk was just going to be a flash in the pan success like OG Fortnite was. It wasn't. It lasted a pretty decent amount of time.
See, you say that OG Fortnite was a flash in the pan. People love that, especially the OG Fortnite no build. It was a lot of fun not having to worry about those people that are just throwing up walls left and right. And it's just like, that's cool. What you guys want to do and how you guys want to play. The only thing I've never liked about Fortnite is the third person. I don't like.
Yeah, I can't do it.
3PS? Is that what bit? Is that an FPS? TPS?
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah, I think it would be TPS.
That just sounds weird, right?
Yeah.
Like just trying to say it, I had like a mini stroke just now. But yeah, going back to the thing that we were talking about, Vanguard and things of the past, there has actually been a game that's all about the past, and it's always been about the past, that is being canceled. And that is the new Assassin's Creed. It was supposed to take place post-Civil War. Yeah, so they got backlash due to some white supremacist group that would have been a major part of it. You would have been fighting the KKK.
Okay, let me get this straight. Assassin's Creed comes out with a game that's post-Civil War where the main protagonist fights the KKK.
Correct.
Today's said subversive groups whined about it, and now the game's being canceled as a result.
Correct. Because even though they were the evil entity of it, you're still bringing light to those people and just having them in the game itself. So you can have Wolfenstein and Nazis all day long, and you can go Inglourious Bastard, all of those dudes. But Assassin's Creed, no, you cannot kill members of the KKK. Now, I do think that it's more so the fact that Assassin's Creed, you can kind of play how you want. And if you play it properly, the only people that you kill are the ones that are your hit. And that's it.
Okay.
You can go through a fairly pacifist way and be the, assassin and be the movement in the shadows and never do anything other than your mission.
Who made the decision? The manufacturer cave and decide to cancel the game?
No idea. It literally just said that Assassin's Creed has been canceled due to public backlash. Assassin's Creed has always been about taking actual events that have happened and then kind of inserting yourself into this time travel-y type thing.
Entering a Civil War era, story in on itself it couldn't drum up a few eyebrows. I get that. It's just kind of like, this is the complete opposite of either what you're trying to endorse or trying to set straight. I never cared for Assassin's Creed, so I guess I have no opinion on it.
To me, it was just slow. I preferred things like Dishonored or for the Far Cry series over the Assassin's Creed series. Mm-hmm. Just because, they are open world. You do what you want to. If you want to go in quiet, you want to go in loud, you do you, boo-boo type things. It might have something to do with the fact that 48% of gamers in the world now are actually female.
Oh, segue.
There's a new study that just came out. It was a study by the Entertainment Software Association.
Well, wait, is this the segue of demographics or just overall people buying video games?
The global average is 48% of gamers are female. 52% of US gamers are female.
I believe it.
I didn't until they kind of explained what their bar was, like what they're actually considering a gamer. Mm-hmm. And they are considering mobile games for people to be gamers. 63% of mobile gamers are female, which mobile games is a much larger chunk of a pie than anything else. Oh, well, and also we are the average age of the gamers nowadays, by the way.
Wow. All right.
Average age of a gamer is now 41.
Cool.
So technically I'm below the curve and you're above it.
I'm like above it by a year.
And I'm below it by a year.
Oh,
we are the average.
we're at opposite ends of the bell curve. Yeah, I mean, I kind of believe it. I would even go as far as to say, I don't know what the statistics are now, but the whole like e-girl or gamer girl thing started on the rise. I would say like mid 2000s, grew exponentially from there. I'm just going to pick on Twitch for the sake of, monetization of your channel. The fact that you're a girl playing a video game as a byproduct of you being some sort of influencer or, an amaranth level, kind of person. Either way, that sort of grew the market exponentially.
Again, and I would agree with that, except that they included mobile games in this study, which has nothing to do with any of that.
None of it.
And I know 100% that is heavily tipping the scales. My mother is now considered a gamer by this thing because she plays Candy Crush. You're going to widen that
bell curve because my folks, too, play games on their phones. Does that make them gamers? Probably not, because they'd probably spend maybe 15 minutes doing it.
It doesn't matter. By the Entertainment Software Association, the study, they are now considered, yes, your parents are gamers.
No. So I'm sorry.
just no.
No. I reject that study.
Okay, then do your own. I would love for you to do your own study.
Dude, I barely have time to put these things on the wall. And I have a shelf that I think is at my doorstep right now.
Another segue. Speaking of mobile game, I'm good at this, okay? I am a segue master.
You need a like animation in between segues of a segue coming through.
It would just be so much more editing to make sure that was timed properly.
Not really. And the fact you get like the animation right, you can make that the same time every time. It's just copy paste.
So. No, I understand that, but I already have to go through the entire episode to censor you because you can't censor yourself.
Hey, if you get me on a hot topic or a hot tangent, I it's like I can only keep myself controlled for so long.
But no, new mobile game, Final Fantasy, is actually coming back with a new mobile game.
That's Final Fantasy VII, right? Is like a remake?
No.
Or are they just doing a whole new Final Fantasy?
They're bringing back an old spin-off that actually launched back in 2008, 2009. I say those 2 years because it launched in Japan in 2008, a few months later in the US, and then a few months after that, they re-released it in Japan with the American version.
Okay.
So 2008, 2009, it was called Dissidia.
My buddy Greg would be like the ideal person to talk to about it. I've seen Final Fantasy and I've watched friends play it over the years, and I get its popularity. I never did. I think I tried it once and I'm just like, I'm bored.
I think it depends on which Final Fantasy they had you try.
7.
Because some of them are
like the greatest one that came out.
I personally think that 10 was the best one, but that's me.
Other people say 7's the best horrible. Because that's what I hear. And
7 was the most iconic.
Yeah.
I will give you that with the remakes and everything else. Going back to Dissidia. Why can I not say this name? Dissidia. They have not launched anything with it in this part of the Final Fantasy IP since 2018 or 2019 on the PS4 and PC.
My buddy Greg is probably all up in it. He's a big Final Fantasy fan. He probably knows more about it than either one of us. Probably more so than you, but definitely more so than me. Yeah, I think
is that really hard with games, honestly?
No. Again, I'll be the first person to admit it. Doom, Castlevania, Zelda, those are my big 3.
I love how I say you play 4 games and you can only list 3 every time you bring it up.
If you're really going to go through the catalog of games that I have played.
Okay, hold on. It is not a catalog. It is a pamphlet.
Okay.
At best.
Whatever. Choose your noun. All right. There. The censor bubble popped. If you were to go through the entire catalog, I mean, you'd be surprised that even you would be surprised at the number. But as far as games that like I have followed over the years, if there's not a game that I care to follow, I'm not only not going to buy it, I'm not going to watch it on YouTube. Like I don't give that shit. Mortal Kombat is in that list where it's like I no longer care to buy the game, like the newer ones that come out. I'll just watch the campaign on YouTube because the story's gotten way convoluted. The gaming and controls, too, in my opinion, have gotten a little convoluted.
I am not a fan of storyline for fighting games. I understand that things have relationships, and I understand that characters have a little bit of backstory. That's cool. But to have this entire universe and this entire thing, like Mortal Kombat, I'm sorry, is just a show at this point with its time travel and its retconning every like other game. If you're going to have a solid story for something, I really do think that you need to keep the retconning to a minimal or just non-existent.
Well, that's where
time travel, off right off. That's where my bubble pops.
Okay, hang on.
God, I hate time travel because they always do it wrong.
Avengers Endgame, started the bandwagon where everyone's getting on the time travel bandwagon. All right, let's just start there. With Mortal Kombat 9, that was technically the first instance of time travel. And they at least did it right, where it's like you send a message to the past and you try and change events to meet the outcome of what the message represents. I get that. Mortal Kombat's story, up until I want to say 10, is actually fairly linear. This is where the movies pissed me off. You only had so many characters that you're working with. You do not need to create something as stupid as a birthmark or a tattoo to create a storyline, or need this one character that no one's ever seen before, i.e. Cole Young, make him the center point of the entire story. You don't need to do that. You just need to follow along the ingredients that are already there. Sub-Zero and Scorpion, you can do an entire movie based off that story. Why the two hate each other. Sonya versus Kano, same thing. You could do an entire movie on why the two hate each other. You can even make that hilarious.
Oh, there's been a big argument about sticking to a storyline when it comes to video game movies, because people have tried it over the years and it doesn't work. I would have been fine if they just say that this is just a totally different timeline that happens in the Mortal Kombat universe and never cross the two. Don't cross the streams and it's fine. It just happens to happen. Well, Cole Young can be in there and that's it.
I understand why they created him, because they wanted to create a character that everyone could empathize with, where they're learning about the story. I get that. Okay. They didn't have to do it. In my opinion, the single greatest video game transition to movie is the original Mortal Kombat from 1995, because that one is dead on balls canonically with the story. Dead on balls.
On balls.
Okay, let me retcon what I just said. The only video game to movie transition that has ever existed that has been 100% correct to its original story is the first Mortal Kombat movie in 1995. That one was just dead on accurate canonically with the original story and how everything took place, and you even get like little sprinkles. Now, there's an exception with Reptile. He wasn't that, animated or reptilian or whatever. That's fine. Everything else, pretty freaking accurate to the story. But again, with the newer movies, they could have taken their time and they chose, to stick to the original story, but start peeling back those layers of the onion. And they chose not to do that. They chose to rush out this one product because it sounded like a good idea. And that's why I hate that movie.
I'm just doing a quick search because I thought it was right. Melina didn't exist.
Correct.
In Mortal Kombat 1. Which that entire movie was Mortal Kombat 1, but yet Melina's in there as the princess and the supposed love interest, but not supposed to be a love interest. And
well, this is where 9 becomes great, because they introduce Melina as she actually was in the original story. She was a manifestation of Shang Tsung sorcery, just a clone Katana to eventually kill Katana and replace her with Melina. That was the intention. And they go in depth with that in 9.
Sorry, I didn't mean Melina. I meant Katana. I meant Princess Katana.
Oh,
because Katana wasn't in 1 either, was she? No, she wasn't.
No.
Yeah.
But
by the way, your whole thing about time travel and Endgame starting the whole thing. Mortal Kombat 9 came out in 2011. Endgame came out 8 years later.
Did 9 come out in 2011? Then what year did Mortal Kombat
start doing time travel? It was 9. The first time travel in Mortal Kombat series was in 2011 game Mortal Kombat 9, where Raiden sends visions of the future to his past self to alter the timeline.
I'm trying to think. 10 is the sequel to 9. Okay, so 11.
That's
when did 11 come out?
Numbers.
11 might be the one I'm thinking of then.
April 23rd, 2019.
Yeah.
Technically, it came out before Endgame. by 3 days.
All right, you win. Even still, I mean, there was like a 5-year period in which everyone was on board with the time travel bandwagon, and it got friggin' old.
Everybody has always been on a time travel bandwagon. In any cartoon we've ever seen, there's always been. I mean, that's when we thought flying cars were going to be there. That's when we saw Bugs Bunny with dinosaurs. Jetsons, you know. Although Jetsons, I will say, was probably the most accurate with, oh, look at this smog. Don't worry about it. We're just going to live above it, and we're not going to do anything with it. you saw them do that, right? They're like, oh, it's really cloudy today. All that smog. They hit a button, and they just like extend their house above the smog.
Yes, I do remember that episode.
So, hey, Darren.
Hey, Zeus.
So I know that you're a gamer, and I am using quotes on you for gamer because you actually touch grass. You go outside.
Mm-hmm.
There is now an ultra thin LED that emits a gentle natural glow similar to sunlight. They've just created. It is a paper thin LED.
Lifelike ultraviolet light or actual ultraviolet light?
83% lifelike.
Okay, so lifelike, not actual ultraviolet light.
Yes.
Okay. I could see purposes for it. I don't know to what extent that would be down the road.
Oh, there's one huge one, actually. For the very northern hemisphere and the very southern hemisphere, their winters get kind of long and their night cycles are very long. You end up with not being able to get a bunch of natural light. They say that this could actually help with depression because being left in dimly lit or low lit areas for extended periods of time isn't the cause of depression, but it's not helping it by anything.
Yeah, it can amplify it for sure. I remember seeing a study on that. You know, music can do the same thing. You know, it can amplify depression. It can suppress it. It can do, you know, all sorts of things, which is why I love music.
Tonight'll be the night.
Whatever. That was.
It was my attempt at being emo, but I've never been emo. Like I was never that kid.
No. Don't.
Yeah. Right?
No. Never again. I suppose I could see benefits for it. Yeah, I'm not like an environmentalist or anything like that, but it's just like I do pose the questions that most people already know. Is there something more natural about what happens in the North or South poles without that particular light that would be otherwise affected by said artificial light?
Well, this would be something that would be indoors. I mean, they already have to set their sleep cycle because they cannot go off of their normal sidereal. Is that what
their own biological clock?
Yeah. Well, it's the sidereal. I think it's called the sidereal cycle. I think that's the name of it. But it is the cycle that you live with the rise and falling of the sun. I mean, that's why we live, where we live for a lot of them. And so a lot of people will actually have like blackout curtains so that they can sleep better during the day. It would also help people with night shifts or, that are waking up or trying to sleep at certain times and putting those type of lights rather than having, fluorescent lighting up above, which has been depression. It's just one of those things that can help. It's not a cure-all. It's really cool, actually. If you were to look the whole thing up, it is this like paper thin, tiny LED. In lab testing, I guess they use like 11.5 volts to power them, but you can get like, I think I got my percentages mixed up. I think it's 93% close to natural lighting, and you can get up to 83% of its output with just an 8.5 volt battery. Like 8.5 volts instead of 11. So I just love how far that, science has come and what we can do with it.
Especially with, the technology sector. I mean, there's always things that, fascinate me. Like I'm, our home into like a smart home. I got the thermostat up a couple weeks ago. Just last week I set up the outlet out there so we can command Alexa to control the patio lights. As the technology comes around, I'm actually looking into outdoor lights, LED like strip lights to put around the house. So that way we can have something year round.
I will say that the strip lighting isn't as nice. There's actually these like can lights that you can put in that do a similar thing. My neighbors actually have them. I have neighbors that have both. One of them has like the LED rope lighting. It's not the stuff that we grew up with that was around everyone's swimming pool, but you know what I'm talking.
Yeah, and one of our neighbors up the street has what you're talking about with the dome lights and whatever. But one way or another, that's something that I want to look into to put around the house as well, because we've come so far. I still have flashes from when I was a childhood at my folks' place where I would see like the old school Christmas, like those big friggin' Christmas lights that they would hang on their roof. And just thinking about it now, it's like, dude, it'd be so nice to have something year round and not hang that shit up every year or take it down.
You know, those actually made a comeback.
The big ones, yeah.
They like made LED versions of those lights that were. Why? I don't get it.
Nostalgia has a place.
Something that, you know, I don't get that. Something that you don't understand is that the Minecraft movie is actually going to have a second one coming out. I don't know why you hate that so much, considering you already said that you even liked Lincoln Log.
Again, I don't know what it is. It's just Minecraft is a game where it's just like I don't even care to watch them.
I understand. So we've been joking for a while that the children yearn for the mines, and that's why Minecraft is so popular at this point. We also understand that you were never a child. You just came out the womb as like a 35-year-old man.
That's cool.
Are you going to deny it?
I mean, can I say anything that's going to be counterintuitive to anything you think of or say? No. So it's just like, why dignify you by putting up the fight?
Fair. You are really in the minority of people that don't like Minecraft. That's first fair. Movie made $957 million, which made it the second highest grossing film of this year. It lost out to Disney's Lilo and Stitch that made just over $1 billion.
What's funny is I didn't even know that they made a remake of Lilo and Stitch until my girlfriend's like nieces put it on the TV. I was like, wait, that's a live action version. I didn't even know
Disney is just doing that thing with just all the live actions. They did Aladdin, they did Lion King, they did Snow White.
They did Snow White, but I'm sure they regret it.
Just because she sunk her own career because of some ideals. Like, look, okay, if you're going to get paid to do something, you just do the thing you're getting paid to do.
Yep.
That's it.
And you
don't use it. Whatever. She's an idiot.
She's an idiot because I don't even care if she's part of the woke community or, you know, a conservative community. She's an idiot because she sunk her own ship.
Yes.
That's your movie. That's something you not only got paid on the front end from Disney, but you could have gotten back end residual left and freaking right and center. Way to screw that up.
Do you know who else actually played a part in kind of sinking that movie? Peter Dinklage.
How so?
A lot of the little person community. I think that's right there, right? Little person?
Yeah.
Because they don't like being called midgets. Is that right?
Or dwarfs.
I guess dwarfism is the disability, whatever.
Yeah.
So he is actually one of the most hated little people among the little people community. Because they feel, and this is just going to sound bad, but they feel that he pulled the ladder up from them. And I'm not even trying to make additional jokes about being short. You know, the whole thing of pulling the ladder up, you know, you make it up somewhere and then you know, make it toward no one else. He said that they shouldn't use actual dwarfs or dwarf roles because it is derogatory and it is typecasting. And so literally this guy that has made his entire career off of being a dwarf or a little person is now saying that, you know, that's why the little people in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs were CGI because of movements like that.
Okay, different areas of discussion. As far as like the magical ladder that Peter Dinklage has created and said pulled out from underneath him. First of all, Peter Dinklage, especially when it comes to you know, like controversies like The Little Mermaid, he can sink whatever he wants. He's kind of untouchable in that regard. He's a phenomenal actor. He's hilarious to watch in interviews.
Right, but he made it big by playing a role that was written for a little person.
Correct. There are so many instances where that can happen where Peter Dinklage would not fit the role. I mean, there's the only other famous little person that I could think of, I forget what his name is, but he went by the name Hornswoggle in WWE. But even his face is pretty recognizable. So, again, that's not to say Peter Dinklage or Hornswoggle are the only two little persons out there that would.
I love how we keep using quotes. Like
it's just like I don't know what to say. It's not like they're the only two in the world that can have that skill set, and at the same time, it's not like those are the only writers in the world that wrote only roles specifically for Peter Dinklage. Not because it's Peter Dinklage, but because of the fact that he's a dwarf. I'm sorry. There's a number of people out there where if they come up with a story like whoever did Willow, that actor.
Hold on. You're going way far back. This is something that he's actively doing right now and discouraging the typecasting of little people. So basically, he made his thing by getting a role for a little person and then saying you should not cast little people in those roles because that's discriminatory.
I guess it's discriminatory to, create a bald character and cast bald people.
Yes. The whole thing is that there was this whole movement several years ago that you should not be casting people that haven't lived the struggle of whatever that character is. The recasting, whether it's by color or by race or by gender or whatever, there was this whole movement that if a person, has two legs and the role's written for a person with one leg, you should only cast a person with one leg because they know the struggle of it. The rest of the acting community is like, but that's why it's called acting.
Yeah.
In any case, I still like Peter Dinklage. The little person community does not.
On one end, yeah, the argument is that's why they call it acting. But at the same time, you can make the same argument for blackface. Look how that turned out. And I'm sorry for a community to call blackface racist, but support a movie called White Chicks is hypocritical and on itself.
By the way, Dylan Swoggle, was that his name? Swoggle?
Hornswoggle.
Well, it just says Swoggle on here. He is one of the people that hates Peter Dinklage.
Who knew?
His quote, dislikes Peter Dinklage because they believe his public criticism of Snow White remake cost them job and opportunity.
Yeah, no, that I agree with. They should not have CGI'd the dwarves in the remake of Snow White. They should not have done that. They should have gotten actual dwarves.
But when you have a voice that is as big as Peter Dinklage, God, that feels so weird saying that, you tend to listen to it a little bit. But yeah, anyway, Minecraft releases, it's penciled in for July 23rd, 2027. I had to make sure I got that in there at some point. The last thing, there is, it's a free game on Steam, and it's called Unknown Fluffy Object. And let me double check that it is still a free game. When I was doing the whole list, it wasn't at that point. Mm-hmm. But it actually has the very rare 100% Steam rating.
Wow.
Now, granted, it's only 25 reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it's really hard to type and talk at the same time. Yeah, it is still a free game as of right now. And the only negative comment was actually in a positive review. And the only negative comment was that the controller support wasn't really there, and that they hope that they do better on the controller support in the future. But is
this a beta?
No, this is. It was released October 3rd, 2025. Now it has 34 reviews, 100% rating as of right now. I'm all about I feel bad saying this after talking about dwarves, but I'm all for supporting the little man as far as like indie developers. That's the phrase I would have used anyway. It just happens to be that we just got done talking about dwarves.
Yeah, my search for puns is now complete.
You're welcome. It is something that you guys should go and try. Give me, what you guys think the game is, if it's worthy of the 100% Steam rating. But yeah, Darren, did you have anything else to add? Because I'm at the end of my list.
I'm good.
Nothing? Nothing at all?
Nothing at all. I mean, so
you have not heard anything. Your daily life. You don't, nothing.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Anything. Like, you can add anything into the conversation. You can take this opportunity to like give your opinion on life and technology and video games and entertainment.
I'm about to walk the dogs.
Thanks for joining us this week, guys. You can catch us on YouTube, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon.
It fits is priceless.
Make sure to check our socials on X, TikTok, Facebook, Reddit.
I can't breathe.
Instagram.
It hurts.
Have a good one. You gonna die over there?
I might.